I apologize for not giving you guys homework because the past few weeks I've been really busy with my school assignments. I have to prepare for some competition at school, so I didn't have enough time to create homework for you guys, but I promise to be more on track this week. I would definitely create the homework and then send it to you guys this week. But yeah, thank you so much for being understandable. So in the previous lesson we've learned about some Earth issues, right? But this week we also look more in depth about Earth, but in a more insightful way, which is about the Earth issues. So I'm going to share the screen so that you guys can see this, the slides. Alright. So here it is. Where is it? So as you can see on the screen, I don't know whether or not you can actually see it, but I hope you can do that. If you don't, please just inform me. Anyway, so here's our slides. You're gonna learn about the Earth's issues as I've presented on the plans. So yeah. So today
I'm recording this video.
Record this?
Yeah.
Of course, but I am recording it, so if you need to rewatch this or whatever, I will send you guys the link. But of course, yeah. Anyway, so I'm talking about this. So today's lesson will be divided into two parts. The first one is we're gonna learn about the pollution, different kinds of pollution, environmental issues, stuff like that. And then we'll also learn about the climate change, which you guys all know I am passionate about this topic. I really love learning and broadening my horizon about climate change. So let's get started. But first, let's answer this question. What exactly is pollution in the first place? So I've taken this definition from National Geography, which is my favorite scientific newspaper of all time. So it can be a little bit complicated at first, but I'm going to try my best to simplify and to explain this in the process. So pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. So pollutants are the contaminants and the sources that actually lead to pollution. It can be garbage, it can be human activities, or even plastic stuff, disposable stuff. So pollutants can be natural. There's this huge misconception and this misunderstanding that pollutants are all about human activities. So whenever you read news or you watch different programs on TV about climate or about pollution, you may already familiarize that pollutants are all about human activities, about factories and vehicles, stuff like that. But pollutants can also deprived from natural resources such as volcanic ash, volcanic eruptions. For example, if a volcano erupts or explodes, all of those harmful ashes and all of those gases will be emitted into the atmosphere and leading to environmental problems. So that can be also natural, but the majority of pollutants are indeed created by human activities, such as trash or runoff. Runoff here means basically the erosion, or the disposal of trash and other stuff produced by factories. Pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. And as you might learn from today's lesson, we're going to look specifically into these kinds of pollution, which is air pollution, water pollution, and land pollution. So that's the three main pollutions we're going to focus on today. And here is also a little definition I've also taken from Wikipedia. So pollution is the introduction of contaminants into the natural environment that cause adverse change. So adverse change means very, very catastrophic, very threatening change that can impact human beings and both animals. So that's the definition of pollution. So let's unravel the causes of pollution. Does pollution result merely from human activities or any other factors? Like, do you think that pollution actually caused from human activities, or there's some natural phenomenon that leading to pollution? Well, in fact, pollution is caused by both factors. It's not only about human activities or about like weather events. It also both of the factors, but the majority of pollution is caused by human activities as the Industrial Revolution. Alright, so let's first learn about like the causes of pollution. So as you can see here, let me just zoom in a little bit. Here it is. So as you can see, here's some causes of pollution. The first, we have naturally occurring contaminants, which are like causes that happen naturally without human assistance or human intervention. So some natural phenomena like volcanic eruptions, as I've explained earlier, can also disrupt our ecosystem because those phenomenon or those like phenomena eject enormous chunks of greenhouse gases and further contribute to climate change. So I do remember there are some like articles about like volcanic eruption in Indonesia like a couple of decades ago, but these actually wreak havoc and destroy like human lives and pose threats to a lot of things. So I think this is this one. This is like the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora. There's some information about this article, but basically this volcanic eruption was so enormous and so like catastrophic that it swept the whole village and ruined everyone's lives like on its path. So it's really destructive, and yeah, here it is. The eruption of Mount Tambora killed thousands, plunged much of the world into a frightful chill, and offers lessons for today. So it is not only affecting human activities too, but also disrupts the ecosystem and the balance, because these immense volcanic eruption also emit a lot of gases into the atmosphere, and it blocked all the sunlight and leading to a long-lasting winter day without any sunlight. So it's really unimaginable to even think about. Like, the effects of it are unimaginable. Here it is. The most destructive explosion on Earth in the past 10,000 years was the eruption of an obscure volcano in Indonesia called Mount Tambora. So this is one of the most destructive explosion in the past 10,000 years. So yeah, so that's just an example of one natural occurring contaminant, which more specifically is the volcanic eruption in Indonesia that swept and destroyed every single thing on its path, and leading to a very long-lasting winter day, no sunlight and no like natural resources. So that's the first one, but also another one which I think is more significant and more important to learn about, which is foreign substances. So foreign substances are basically just fancy terms indicating the human activities that have a negative impact on the environment. So the most significant sources wreaking havoc, as you notice that I use these words all the time in today's lesson at least, wreak havoc basically means like negatively influencing something on our environment, is human-based or industrial activities. It can be to like industrial activities. It can be to deforestation, or to build buildings and other factories. Well, maybe those activities can be beneficial for human and to like enhance humans' living standards, but it can actually have a more negative impact in the long term in the environment. So for example, human activities, they can be poor waste management or intensive extraction. Intensive extraction is like when you extract those fossil fuels or from like the process of burning fossil fuels can dramatically have an adverse impact on our nature. So yeah, that's the human activities that can actually impact the ecosystem and the environment. So that is like some basic foundation of the pollution. What about more specific? Like we should like be more specific and look into different types of pollution. So there are numerous types of pollution that cannot be covered into this lesson, or else it would take like me the entire day to explain. But today we're just gonna look more into one of three of the most important and the most common types of pollution, which is the first. Oh, and by the way, which are like land pollution, water pollution, and air pollution. Those are three of the most prevalent and the most serious threats to humankind. Of course, there are also plastic pollution, or even oil pollution, but those are less common and less serious compared to air pollution. So, yeah. And by the way, before diving into the first type of pollution, I have some surprising and some disturbing facts about pollution that I've gathered from the internet. The first one is that motorcycles, though facilitating humans' mobility and transportation, is the leading factor of air pollution and the emergence of chronic diseases. So what is chronic diseases, you may ask? Chronic diseases are diseases that are permanent, and diseases like that relating to respiratory, like heart disease or even lung cancer. Air pollution results in millions of premature deaths globally. Because like here's another fact that really caught me off guard and it just got me carried away, which is 91% of global population breathe in polluted air on a daily basis. Like 91% of people living all over the world inhale contaminated air. So you can imagine how serious air pollution is. So yeah, that's just some surprising information about air pollution. But let's look about air pollution for the first. So I have some information here about air pollution. The first one is the definition of air pollution. So air pollution is one of the most serious kinds of pollution on Earth, as you might already guess. So WHO, which is the abbreviation for World Health Organization, defined air pollution as the contamination of indoor or outdoor environment. So just stop right there because I want to clarify a little bit. So we tend to associate air pollution with outdoor activities, right? Whenever you're looking at pictures of people suffering from air pollution, we tend to link that, we tend to associate air pollution with smoke or with contaminated air. But one of the most surprising facts you've learned today is that air pollution can also happen indoor too, right in your house at any moment. For example, if you like excessively burning coal in order to generate electricity or to cook something, those gases can suffocate you and it can actually affect your respiratory or your respiration. Then there's also called indoor air pollution too. Like if you are burning coal to generate electricity or to provide heat for your house or blah blah blah, then it can also lead to air pollution because those gases and those ash from the action of burning can also negatively impact humans' health. And yeah, so it can happen both indoor and outdoor, remember that. So continue with this definition. The indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. So air pollution can be caused both by chemical or physical or biological elements, which definitely I will explain earlier, I will explain later in this lesson, but that's the definition of it. Stuff or like contaminants that can modify and help and make a difference negatively, of course, cannot positively, in the atmosphere and the natural characteristics. So here we have some contribution to air pollution, like some causes that lead to air pollution. Well, first and foremost, it is undeniable to acknowledge that industrial activities like manufacturing or generating electricity contribute to air pollution, because those activities require the extraction from the fossil fuels, and the burning of fossil fuels, as I've repeated numerous times, that burning fossil fuels can actually eject thousands of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere and further contributing to the air pollution. So, or maybe when you're like using vehicles too much, like when you're using enclosed or private vehicles instead of public vehicles, public transportations, you can also emit tons and tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere each day or even each year if those gases accumulate and add up. And less common factor but also play a part in air pollution, which is weather events. So as I've just told you earlier in the example, which is the Indonesian volcano eradicating crops and people's lives. So that are some causes of air pollution that you have to memorize and bear in mind. But I think that but you have to like pay attention the most to these first two factors, because those are impacting air pollution and accelerating it compared to weather events. Weather events happen less frequently compared to like, you know, burning fossil fuels or running vehicles. So yeah. And I did have this video for you guys to watch about air pollution as usual from National Geographic. Wait a sec, I'm gonna send you guys this link about air pollution. Oh, wait a sec. How many not like? So I'm gonna copy this and paste it in the Google search bar. So here's an additional article. You can learn more about air pollution by reading this, like about the definition, about global health hazard, and environmental impact, stuff like that. But what I want you to focus more on this lesson is that you can watch the video here. The video right here, 3 minutes. So I'm gonna share this. So go ahead and watch the video, because yeah, this video is really informative and provide a lot of useful knowledge about air pollution. So yeah.
Air pollution consists of chemicals or particles in the atmosphere that pose serious health and environmental threats. But what causes air pollution, and what does it mean for our planet? Some air pollution comes from natural sources like volcanic eruptions, wildfires, or allergens. But most air pollution results from human activities such as energy use and agriculture. There are different types of human-made air pollution. When we burn fossil fuels to produce energy, they release greenhouse gases into the air. These emissions, such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases, trap heat from the sun in Earth's atmosphere, leading to a rise in global temperatures. This creates a cycle where air pollution contributes to climate change, and climate change creates higher temperatures. In turn, higher temperatures intensify some types of air pollution. For example, climate change increases smog because it forms in the presence of high heat and increased levels of ultraviolet radiation. More frequent extreme weather, such as flooding, contributes to damp conditions, and therefore to a rise in mold. Warmer weather also leads to longer pollen seasons, and therefore more pollen production. Smog is a type of air pollution that reduces visibility and has serious health effects. Smog can be divided into two categories: sulfurous and photochemical. Sulfurous smog is made up of chemical compounds called sulfur oxides. It occurs when burning sulfur-bearing fossil fuels such as coal. Photochemical smog, also called ground-level ozone, is a result of the reaction between sunlight, nitrogen oxides, and volatile organic compounds. Nitrogen oxides come from car exhaust, coal power plants, and factory emissions. Volatile organic compounds are released from gasoline, paint, and many cleaning solvents. Smog not only creates a brown haze that reduces visibility, but also harms plants, irritates the eyes, and causes respiratory distress. Another category of air pollution is toxic pollutants. These are chemicals such as mercury, lead, dioxins, and benzene that are released during gas or coal combustion, waste incineration, or burning of gasoline. In addition to adverse environmental effects, toxic air pollution can cause serious health problems such as cancer, reproductive complications, and birth defects. While air pollution has many consequences for our planet, there are solutions. We can limit toxic pollutants, smog, and greenhouse gases by decreasing the use of fossil fuels, such as in transportation, manufacturing, and electricity generation. Reducing air pollution not only contributes to a cleaner environment and better human health, but can also slow the rate of global warming. Limit toxic pollutants, smog, and greenhouse gases by decreasing the use of fossil fuels, such as in transportation, manufacturing, and electricity generation. Reducing...
Alright, so have you guys finished watching the video yet? Okay. So, I think that this video is very thought-provoking and a very fantastic video talking about air pollution, because the narrator here explains really well and really successfully the impact and different types of air pollution, which really complicate me and just really fascinate me. But one of the most shocking thing I've learned from this video is the cycle. Wait a sec. I need to find this back. Don't know where it is, but the narrator did mention about the cycle between climate change and air pollution. So basically, air pollution will lead to climate change because of the contaminated gases into the atmosphere, and in turn those gases can intensify and can give rise to higher temperature, and higher temperature can also lead to climate change, which is a little bit complicated, but kind of air pollution and climate change have some relationships with each other. So that's just some information I've learned from air pollution, kind of really intrigue me. And there are some solutions to air pollution too. As you can see, at the very end of the video, the narrator did mention some practical solutions in order to reduce the impacts of air pollution, such as to minimize the time you spend transporting. Instead, you can start walking more or start using public transportations, or you can also I don't know, impose some legislations on the manufacturing and on the production factory, stuff like that. So yeah, just to become more strict with the categorization of air pollution and to filter out all of those harmful chemicals when producing stuff, I guess. Yeah, and there's some impacts of air pollution too, leading to a lot of consequences both to human beings, to natural habitat, for example, to even reproduction errors. Wait, is there somebody raising hands? Oh no. Okay, so as I'm talking about this, air pollution can also lead to a lot of respiratory and breathing problems and irritate the visibility, which is when you air pollution can obscure your visibility and the ability to see things clearly because of the smog, stuff like that. So that's about air pollution. Yeah, I think that air pollution is the most popular types of pollution because whenever I'm typing like the keyword pollution, all the articles, the majority of them are about air pollution. So yeah, that's the first type of air pollution. And moving on, we have another one, which is water pollution. So we also have some definitions from different resources here I want to read out loud. The first one is that water pollution is the contamination of water sources by substances which make the water unusable for drinking, cooking, basically daily activities like cleaning, swimming, and other actions too. So let's break it down a little bit. We have the contamination of water sources by substances, which means, for example, if you notice like some garbages floating on the water surface, you may think that this is water pollution. Or when you detect some like erotic scent from water and like it is undrinkable, then that is water pollution. Or whether there's some signs of air pollution out there, like for example undrinkable water, then maybe the water there is also hazardous and unusable too. So that is some water pollution. And here's is a very unsettling fact I've just encountered when doing research that I really want to tell you guys how serious it is. It is that 4,000 children die every single day due to contaminated water consumption. Like 4,000 children, that is so immense and so unimaginable. Like I've never ever visualized that so many children take their own lives each year just by consuming contaminated water. So that's so unsettling, and definitely it just give rise to a lot of unanswered questions about like why there's so many children out there that didn't have access to clean water. And it's really motivated me to do more research about water pollution in order to get to the bottom of it and to learn the causes why people like find clean water scarce and really rare. So that is some fact I've learned about water pollution. And we also have some universal causes, which are some common causes of water pollution. Excuse me. So the first one, we have agricultural process, for example manufacturing, or using pesticides or fertilizers, and those harmful chemicals leak into the water sources, affecting aquatic animals and a lot of animals. Like for example, if you dispose trash or dispose plastic, disposable trash into the water sources, a lot of marine animals will misunderstood those resources as food, and they will accidentally consume them, and it can be fatal. It can lead to the death. So in the long term, if they consume those plastic products, then it can negatively affect their digestive system and leading to a lot of lethal problems. So that is not agricultural, but just some fact just popping on my head. But agricultural, it can be like when you're using fertilizers or stuff like that, and then those chemicals just penetrate or just like go into the water sources and affect the water's quality. It can also come from sewage and wastewater, which sewage is like the waste and the wasted products as substances from the manufacturing process. For example, if there's some like factories near the water sources decided to discharge some kind of unwanted resources, that is sewage after a process of producing some stuff. So, or we also may come across these concepts when you're, for example, doing research or investigating about pollution. You may also encounter this. I also want to clarify a little bit, which is non-point source and point source solution. Actually, the spelling is a little bit wrong right there. Let me just make some changes. Okay, so non-point source and point source solution can be a little bit confusing sometimes. And honestly, I don't know how to explain it, even though that I do understand, but sometimes I can not even differentiate between these two. So I will rely on Google to do that for me, to be in charge of explaining. But I do understand the concepts of it. But let me just do some research. So non-point source. Oh, here it is. Oh my god, National Geographic is such a lifesaver. Where is the information? I think here it is. Point source solution is easy to identify. As the name suggests, it comes from a single source or a single place. And non-point source solution is harder to identify and harder to address. It is pollution that comes from many places all at once. For example, if a single factory decided to discharge or dispose like substances into the water sources, that is like point source solution, because we can trace back to that particular corporation who decided to discharge the waste or discharge the substances. But non-point source solution is more challenging to identify and to determine because it comes from different factors. For example, like non-point source solution can happen globally, where households can like discharge waste and garbage all at once, so it can be harder to identify and to determine. So yeah, that's water pollution. And moving on, we have the least, not the least, one of the most important types of pollution also, which is land pollution. So here's some definition, obviously. Land pollution occurs when trash, compost, and other toxins are dumped on the land, contaminating or polluting it. So it's really simple, as the name might self-explanatory itself. Land pollution is like when trash or when landfills actually like adversely impact the soil and degrade the soil quality, if that makes sense. And here's some widely acknowledged causes of land pollution I've detected during my research, my investigation. The first one, obviously, needless to say, whenever it comes to land pollution, we instantly think of trash, garbage, and landfills, and that's totally the truth, because garbage, I think, is one of the most fundamental and plays the most significant role in land pollution. Like each year, there are thousands of households, or each day, every single day, thousands of kilograms of trash will be disposed from household or from organizations, from corporations, and those garbage will be dumped into landfill. Landfill is like the place where trash will be dumped there and it will be deposited there. And like landfills contain a lot of toxic chemicals. For example, greenhouse gases or even methane. Methane is normally produced when like a overload of landfill is identified, and those garbages and those chemical toxins can leak into the sources, and it can also negatively affect the crops and the agriculture, because the soil has been affected, has been degraded. So as a result, the crops cannot absorb enough nutrients, cannot fully like being cultivated, and leading to mass destruction in terms of agriculture and also the soil quality too. But however, other resources or other causes can also come from factories. As I explained earlier, factories can like also not only dump the chemicals into the water bodies, but also dump that into the soil. So yeah, and then we also have farming, which is also really prevalent and really deserves attention. So for example, if farmers excessively take advantage of fertilizers or pesticides, those kind of chemicals can actually impact. It may help the crops to grow more efficiently and more productively and to harvest more food, but in the long term, if the farmers literally make the most use or overuse fertilizers and pesticides, it can also affect the soil quality and lead to soil erosion. Or even mining. Mining is like extract resources from the soil quality, or yeah, that's that. But I honestly don't want to explain mining because it's kind of a very complicated process. But basically, mining is when you extract stuff from the soil, like burning fossil fuels, something like that. So yeah, that's some causes of land pollution. But I really need you guys to actually pay attention to the first one, which is garbage and factories. So yeah, I think all of them definitely play a part in pollutions, regardless of anywhere. So yeah, that is some causes of land pollution. And I also have some resources right there to learn more about pollution. But first, let's learn about this one. This is like the compilation and the combination of different pollutions. I swear with you guys, National Geographic is like such a lifesaver, and whenever I need to like do research or do some investigation, information always presented on National Geographic, and it saves me fortune. Like, it saves me tons of time to do research because the information is already there. So I spend less time for designing and for gathering information and data about the lesson that is upcoming. So if you happen to be a teacher in the future, definitely refer to those, especially if you are like passionate about science. Then National Geographic is like an ideal place to like encapsulate your knowledge with scientific knowledge and facts. So yeah, here's an article about pollution. Let's look through some photographs about pollution first. So here is the demonstration of landfills. As you can see, everything is such an chaos, like garbages and plastic bags, and it looks just so distressing and so disturbing. And here's some caption of it. Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. Landfills collect garbage and other land pollution in a central location like this. Many places are running out of place for landfills because like there's no other place to dispose trash, so people decided to dispose it in a particular place, which referred to as landfills. So that's the picture of landfills. In case you cannot imagine or cannot visualize it in your head, then here we go. And then we also have this, which is truck exhaust. Oh, it's the truck exhaust, I think, is going to be relating to air pollution because obviously exhaust. So air pollution is the introduction of harmful chemicals into the atmosphere. Sometimes air pollution is visible. Okay, so air pollution can be both visible and invisible too. The exhaust from this truck, for instance, is polluting the air with toxic chemicals such as carbon monoxide and formaldehyde. I hope I did pronounce it correctly, but yeah. So air pollution can also like come from pipes and from transportation release of the gases, like truck exhaust. And then moving on, we have like Shanghai towers above the smog. Like, you cannot see anything clearly through the smog, right? Because air pollution already obscure and hinder your visibility. So everything just so blur and it's just not really clear, I guess. So the tallest towers of Shanghai, China, rise above the haze. We can only identify the tops, like the towers of it, the topper of it, but we cannot see like the bodies of it in the buildings. So yeah, Shanghai smog is a mixture of pollution from coal, the primary source of energy for most homes and business in the region, as well as emissions from vehicles. So yeah, a little pictures here to actually capture your attention about pollution. Excuse me. Alright, so let's see if I detect any interesting pictures. Oh, here, we have like volcanoes, the Pompeii. I did heard about this volcano like a couple of times already when I'm doing some research, but I didn't actually pay attention to this. So let's just quickly go through the definition of Pompeii or some background information. Mount Vesuvius, a volcano in Italy, famously erupted in 79 CE, killing hundreds of residents of the nearby town of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Most victims of Vesuvius were not killed by lava or landslides caused by the eruption. They were choked or asphyxiated by deadly volcanic gases. Volcanic ash buried the corpses, and later archaeologists were able to make molds of the remains above. Okay, so here's a very fascinating fact of the Pompeii volcano, which is that when the volcano like occurred so unexpectedly that all of those people, all of those residents inhabiting at Bombay, just like weren't prepared for an evacuation or weren't prepared in order to run away, so they will literally turn into fossils when archaeologists discovered them in Pompeii. So let me just show you in a picture. I did remember this Pompeii eruption. Like there's some people, like the people has been fossilized by those volcanoes, and like it looks like exactly the statues, but the difference between those is that those are real people have been killed instantly as the volcano just swept through the area. So it's really interesting, like those people are real, it's not statues or like captured from stones. So yeah, like here's a picture of a person. You may think that it is a statue, it's not something special to talk about, but it is real people that have been fossilized, have been like snoozed because of the volcano. So yeah, that's just one fact about the Andean volcanic eruptions called Pompeii. And then let's see, anything else? Wow, look at this picture. Oh my god, I cannot believe that kids are so cheerfully playing in such a contaminated lake. Like, no offense, but it looks kind of spooky to me though. But yeah, this is flows through Dhaka, Bangladesh. Is heavily polluted by both industrials and industry. Like, how can they be so happy and ecstatic to going swimming, I guess, on such a contaminated water source? Oh, Monkey, do you have any more questions?
The water is very dirty.
Yep. Like,
It's full of trash.
I
I think it is the people that they don't have enough money.
yeah.
And make the earth can't live.
I mean, like, the people here are living under a very poor conditions. Like, they don't have money to afford clean water, so they ended up like taking path in those places, which really sad and really unfortunate. So as you can see how water pollution can actually affect people's lifestyle. So yeah, that's the picture of water pollution in Bangladesh. What else? Let me see. This one is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Okay, so probably have already not heard about this, but it's like the regions where a collection of trash of the marine debris in the North Pacific Ocean. Yeah, so it contains a lot of trash over there. Like, each of these spiral collection of trash, full of trash. I did have some pictures about this. Like, I do remember, okay? I really love looking at the pictures and analyze it.
The water very dirty, so everyone can't drink it.
I mean, contaminated water is undrinkable, obviously. But look at this picture. This is one of the picture of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which filled with trash and garbages. Like, we don't see anything other than trash. Don't see any signs of living organisms or fish. I think that none of them can actually sustain in those conditions like that, because it's so toxic and so like
So dirty. This is terrifying. An animal cannot live with dirty water with trash.
So a lot of animals even go extinct because of those huge chunks of trash existing there. So as you can see here, like, yeah.
Look at that! Animals think they're food and eat and stuck in their mouth and body.
So like, yeah, I totally agree with your opinion. Like those animals will like accidentally consume those trash because they misunderstood them as food resources, and it will stuck in their stomach for a long time, and those resources will like, add up, and it can be very lethal and even leads to death or extinction. So yeah. Okay, so that's the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and then we have this one, the Dead Zone. Not really interested. Oil spill. By the way, oil spill is really like prevalent here, I guess. But oh, here it is. Chemical pollutants can be intentionally introduced into the environment. Crop dusting allows small planes to spray chemicals on large agricultural fields. Fields may be dusted with pesticides or fertilizers. While these chemicals may help the crops, they may also enter the water, soil, and air, and those have been scientifically proved to be extremely like pose a threat to humans' health. If, for example, humans accidentally digest those crops that have been going through like fertilizers, stuff like that. Yeah. So here's the the confetti of like recycling. But yeah, so that's some pictures, kind of interesting though, about pollution and about the impacts of it on the biodiversity, on the animals and human beings. So yeah. So coming back to the articles, you can actually read this for more information, but let me just go through this quickly for you guys. So basically this article plays a comprehensive and an overview about different pollutions. For example, the definition of it, and then we have like the air pollution. Yes, you have any question?
Grass can make water and forest with for animals, so animals cannot live with grass and ocean with full of grass and dirty water.
So that's why immediate action is required, but a lot of people like don't care about those unfortunate and those tragic deaths, like where animals have to suffer from the consequences of water pollution, and like a lot of people just still don't care, still like take that for granted, and it's just like, well, this just happens, and they just really think that animals' life doesn't matter. But in reality, animals actually give us insights into the universe, into the world, into the biodiversity, right? And we tend to observe animals, and there's so many fascinating things about the animals. And whenever I swear, whenever I'm watching documentaries, and whenever I'm like observing those animals have to suffer from water pollution, that was just make my blood boil, like why people don't take actions. Well, I myself, like, I'm trying my best to spread some positive messages about pollution, about our earth, about science. That's why I opened this class in the first place, because I want to spread positivity and spread some like attention about pollution and about the earth issues that require attention and recognition. So yeah, yeah. So we can actually learn more about this in case you're interested in like learning more about air pollution and water pollution and what's more land pollution and stuff like that. There's even some solutions listing down here, so kind of really comprehensive and really informative.
Can you give us this link?
Of course. Wait a sec. I'm gonna send here. So if you have time, just please click on it, but please save it for later, because now we're gonna move on to another concept, which I think is even more important. Well, of course, pollution and climate change is equally important, but I am more excited to talk about climate change because I think, yeah. But before that, we also have another link about this article is for kids about pollution. I really want to show you guys. So let me see. Wait, so let's look at these pictures again. Here's a bottle. No, actually, for example, okay, a bottlenose dolphin plays with a plastic 6-pack ring. Okay, so looks how enthusiastic he is.
I know why the dolphin is attracted because the dolphin thought it was a jelly.
I thought it was just some kind of games and toys, but in reality it is some kind of plastic. So
Yeah.
and then we have this marine iguana sits on a beach littered with trash on Santa Cruz Island. Like, he looks so sad. Just look at his expressions. You guys might notice it.
And the home had been stuck full of trash, so they don't have any home to live.
Like, their habitat has been filled with trash and garbages, and there's no other places they can occupy. And then we have this is like dog. It's like a bear cup. Yeah, a bear cup chewing on a plastic drink bottle. Alright, so I think like he literally misunderstood it for food resources, but yeah.
Because he thought it was a fish.
So yeah, a lot of pictures of animals who like thought plastic and thought trash actually is food resources, and they ended up digesting it, but in reality it's not. Or even this one.
No, that's cool. I think that crow is doing some nets for the egg she lay.
Yeah, maybe that's a possibility too. But here's like the picture of Indian elephants walk through trash near landfill. So I don't know why they have to walk through the trash, maybe to find some habitats to live in or to wander around. But yeah. A Bengal tiger carries a plastic water bottle in... Okay.
You thought it was the meat.
I don't know how tigers cannot differentiate between meat and bottle, but yeah.
And the tortoise thought it was a cherry. Jenny?
Yes. Anyone who's
I want to ask you a question. I remember that you said you open this class because you want to give positive message for saving the environment, right? So have you got any plans about saving the environment yet?
Yes, definitely. Like, when I'm like doing this, when I'm like explaining you guys to this stuff, you guys are actually comprehending stuff about pollution. And I think that this is the way that I spread positive messages, and that's why I'm take action. I'm inspiring others to learn more about pollution. So yeah, that's how I take actions. Even though that I cannot like possibly come up with powerful legislations or pass laws, or maybe becoming like a politician, an environmental activist like Greta Thunberg, but at least what I am doing is that I am spreading positive messages to people and to different like people from all over Vietnam about pollution, so they can be inspired, they can realize how pollution is destroying their life and animals. So yeah, but thank you so much. That's a very interesting question. So yeah. Anyway, so that's some pictures I'm gonna show you guys about pollution. I also want to send you guys this link in case you're interested in reading some little captions here, if you wish, but yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the next concept, which is climate change. So, I swear with you guys, I'm so thrilled to even tell you guys about climate change, because the whole point of this lesson is that I can actually learn about climate change. But anyway, so Earth is obviously getting hotter day by day, literally day by day. Whenever you encounter some newspaper on the internet or you watch programs, like literally everyone around you may be discussing about climate change, about the rising temperature. And we also witness pictures of people suffering from hurricanes, of droughts, or weather events, or like wildfires destroying our planet and leaving natural habitat. All of these horrendous consequences are stemming from one phenomenon, escalating, which means to intensifying even more by human activities, which is climate change. But in the first place, what is climate change? So before answering you guys this question, I have a little like easy peasy quiz for you guys to do. This quiz I've customized myself, so yeah, wait me a sec. I will send you guys the link of the quiz so you guys can do this. Wait a sec.
Is that an app that we can make our own game?
Like, it's not a game, it's like a little quiz to test your guys' knowledge about climate change. It's like that. Before diving into the topic of climate change, let's see how well you know about climate change first, so that it can be
What
more.
happened?
It's like I don't know, a random app I've discovered about creating quizzes. Typeform. So go ahead and do the quiz. It just takes you like 7 minutes or even less than that, but yeah.
The one that says in the video what greenhouse effect is only that allows us to rate numbers. If you can rate liters, how are we going to answer the question?
Okay, so for some reasons, the question where, in your opinion, what is the greenhouse effect? I don't know why the website only allowed to type numbers, but yeah, it's kind of ridiculous though. So let me just, wait a sec. You guys can actually type the answer on the chat box of the meeting because I don't know why the website will just allow to type numbers on it for some reasons. So yeah, let me just grab some drinks.
I'm done. I'm done.
I'm done.
Alright, come back. I've just grabbed some drinks. So, have you guys all finished?
Yeah.
Alright, so let me start the responses. Like, this is my very first time I've ever created this. So, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But, yeah. So, I'm gonna share the screen so you guys can all see the answers that you have typed. And let's see how well you know about, well, you know what I mean, climate change. Okay, so here's your answer. Here's your answer, as you can see here. Okay, so the first stuff, we have Alexandra. Jenny is actually mine. I'm like, just testing those stuff to see whether or not it is effective or it is working. But let's see. We have Alexander. Wait, do anyone here know who Alexander is? But yeah. Anyway, so let's see. So let's see his answers to see whether or not it is accurate. Climate change is the annual rise in the Earth's temperature due to the excessive amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. False. Well, actually, it's not false. It is true. So, okay. Which of the following are greenhouse gases that contributes to global warming? All of them. I do remember this question. Are all of them like carbon dioxide and methane, nitrous oxide? So all of them. In your opinion, what is the greenhouse effect? For some reasons, it's only working for numbers. So like maybe I forgot to change the type of answer, but definitely I will improve myself next time. I'm not gonna repeat the mistake again. What are the driving factors of climate change? Oh, I do not really remember this question though. How can I see like the type of questions it is? Okay. Choice 5. Let me see the I've never familiarized myself with all of those quiz stuff, so it's gonna.
Can I ask you a question?
What is it?
If we want to make a typeboard, we click on the create typeboard and choose to start from scratch, or what do we choose?
So, oh wait, which question are you referring to? Like this one? Or something? Like you're answering what is the effect of greenhouse? What is the greenhouse effect or something? Cause, but yeah, thanks for your answer. It's kind of insightful though. But yeah, so first I am analyzing answer, but I am figuring out how to actually see the questions. because I don't know what choice 5 is. But oh yeah, I do remember that choice 5 is like, I accidentally created it, but there's no answer on it, so choice 5 is not correct either. All of the following activities can reduce, yes, all of them, I do remember that all of them. Global warming is accelerated by the, how would I see this? I'm so annoying, I swear I will never use this again. Okay. Global warming is accelerated by the reduction of global snow and ice cover, and true. Okay, so I think that analyzing each of the student, each individual, it takes a lot of time, so let's just analyzing all of you guys in one setting. So climate change is the annual rise in the temperature due to the excessive amounts of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and the answer is true. So let's see how many of you guys accurately answer the question. So with Wenqi, we have Hafeng, and Jenny's me, so technically it's not count, and Monkey, so congratulations. I don't know why you guys answer this full, because it is the annual rise in Earth's temperature, and greenhouse gases definitely contribute to climate change. But don't worry, I'm not gonna blame you guys because we haven't learned about these concepts yet. I'm just gonna test your knowledge a little bit. So yeah, congratulations on whose answers are correct. And then we have which of the following are greenhouse gases that contribute to global warming, and all of you guys answered this correctly except for Monkey. That's okay too, because maybe you guys haven't heard about these greenhouse gases yet. So yeah, this question, there's some errors in it, so I'm just gonna ignore it. But let me just explain a little bit what is the greenhouse effect. So the greenhouse effect is like, for example, there are an abundance of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere that help trap heat and to stabilize our ecosystem. A lot of you guys might think that greenhouse effect is totally toxic and it's only negative, it only brings about negative consequences, but in reality, greenhouse effect contributes to the stability of our ecosystem, of our environment. But an excessive amount of greenhouse gases did indeed lead to serious consequences. One of them is climate change or even pollution types. So that's my explanation for the greenhouse effect. Basically, the greenhouse effect in the atmosphere, it's trap heat and reflect some sunlight, and then just make the climate in the earth to become stable and to always remain unchanged. But recently, greenhouse effect has become even more accelerating and leading to climate change, stuff like that. So next one, what are the driving factors of climate change? Okay, so this question is a little bit tricky, requires more thoughtfulness and observation. Alright, so let's see. Natural, I think climate change is caused by both natural and human factors. Okay, so technically there's only one person answer this question right, which is Hafeng. So basically, I think climate change is caused by both natural and human factors. It's not solely about natural occurring phenomena or only about human-based activities. Jenny is me, so don't count about that. So yeah, only one person answered this correctly. You guys have limited knowledge about climate change. That's really disappointing. Anyway, so yeah, no offense. Next, which of the following activities can reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere? Let's see, all of them. Okay, drive less, walk more, all of them. Okay, so all of them are the correct answers, because drive less, walk more, and what is the other option? What is the other option? I do remember that there's another one. Consume less meat, right? Yeah, I think that the other option is consume less meat. So, drive less, walk more definitely is eco-friendly, it is green to the environment, it is minimize the impacts of carbon emissions. So definitely drive less, walk more is the activities that can reduce greenhouse gases. But pay attention that also consume less meat can also reduce the impacts of climate change. It may sound surprising to you, but let me explain. Because grazing and feeding animals will require a lot of energy and kind of food resources, and those food resources have been cultivated, have been planted on lands. So I don't know how to explain it actually, but when you're grazing animals, those animals will emit methane into the atmosphere, surprisingly. So yeah, if you consume less meat, you contribute less to the carbon emission, because less animals will have to be slaughtered, have to be killed in order to meet your requirements. So yeah, but I don't understand why known options are correct, because all of them are correct. But if you actually know that drive less, walk more is eco-friendly and it is at least more sustainable compared to drive more. So yeah, that's that. And then this one. Global warming is accelerated by the reduction of global snow and ice cover. All of you guys can actually answer this question accurately. Well, I want to reveal this surprising fact you may never have thought, because at first I answered this question wrong. So don't be surprised or anything, because I literally just skimmed through the questions and I thought there's no relationship between global snow and global warming. But when it actually analyzed the answer, the question, it's actually there's some relationship and there's some association between global snow and global warming, because global snow is reflecting and is absorbing sunlight, and when all of those glaciers and ice cover kept melting, sunlight would not be trapped. Sunlight will be trapped, it would not be absorbed, and leading to severe effects of climate change. So the majority of you guys actually answer this accurately, which really caught me off guard, except for monkey again. That's kind of annoying, okay? Anyway, so I'm just kidding. And then we have this. Name 3 things can be done to minimize the impact of climate change. So there's some people don't even bother to answer this question. Don't know why, but seriously, you should take it more seriously, I guess. Because this question can actually help you to shape perspectives about climate change. So don't type those random letters. That's ridiculous. Just can't say I don't know. That's even okay. That rather than just typing G or FF, whatever. But yeah. So the first one is drive less, do not leave trash, stop burning fossil fuels, and then walk more, don't cook with fire. Very, very great suggestions. Plant more trees to reduce carbon dioxide. Drive less and bike more. Try to give positive messages to more people, reduce climate change. Well, great response there. Jessica, good job. I really love your answer. So your suggestions are really realistic and really practical. You also incorporate those, try to give positive messages, which is kind of well done. But yeah, all of the 3s here are amazing. Alright, so here's some a little question. How difficult do you find the question is? So Alexandra, I don't know what the person is in person, but 8 out of 8. Okay. I don't know. 3 out of 8. That's okay too, because I'm gonna try to explain this in this lesson. Then 5 out of 8. And then 5 out of 8. Okay. So that means the quiz is not that easy peasy as I've expected it to be, but at least you guys successfully accomplished this. So good job, guys. We have some responses, the analytics, the analysis of it. So 66.7% of you answered this true, and then 83% of you answered all of them, and then I don't know what, and then this. Yeah, so that is kind of effective though. I really love giving you guys quizzes to do to challenge you first before revealing the answer, because you have to actively recall the information you've learned. So yeah, good job, good job. Alright, so what is that? It's already like 4:30. Where's the slides of mine? Guess what? I haven't created the slides for the climate change, and it's the end of our lesson anyway, so I think that I'm gonna leave it for like next day, because this week we're gonna learn 2 days. This week, I don't know why, because like you guys have to like come back to school the upcoming weekends, the upcoming week, so I'm trying to squeeze the whole class into 1 week only. So yeah, I'm gonna try my best to explain the rest of the stuff for any given day of the weekend, because I'm off like the majority of the day. But yeah, so I think that's that. In the next lesson, I'm gonna try to explain a little bit about climate change, but that's the end of today's lesson. So basically, I think it's kind of interesting to learn about pollution and climate change, stuff like that. So I think that this is also like near. I'm not saying this is the end of the whole course. We're saying it's nearly the end, and we are rushing to find a point. And I'm gonna give you guys a test. So remember to revise it carefully and to do some revision, to rewatch my videos if necessary, to even ask me questions if you feel like doubtful, if you feel like skeptical about anything that need clarification, then just feel free to reach out for me. So yeah, that's for today's lesson. And oh my god, it's gonna like yeah, so I have to like prepare another slides, because I'm trying to teach you guys like another day this week, so I better get going and then create homework too. Yes, create homework too. So yeah, I definitely have to do that. Cannot delay anymore. So thank you so much for joining this class. I'm gonna see you the next lesson. Bye bye. Bye guys, you are free to go now. I'm gonna send the homework, so don't worry.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.